Alright, so now we are complete. As you'll see, all the way to the top we're now done on all four sides. Now there is something you might notice in the background there, but we'll get to that in a second. That's a part of the other little change and one of the little surprises that I've added in the last little while. It's been a very productive little couple of episodes. So now what we've done now is we've added onto the top layer here another 2 winch up points, and we've now got 4 pillars up to the top here as well. And as you can see from a distance, it's looking pretty damn cool. I'm liking the look of it much more now than I was previously, and I really think that the change of adding that top spire in has definitely changed things up a little bit and made it look a lot nicer. I'm still contemplating whether I may even throw another layer up the top. I think I've still got around about 3 or 4 levels to go of building space on the very top. But what I'll do is I'll mess around with that later on. I think I'm pretty much done with making massive changes and taking a lot of time for building things at the moment. And I really just want to do some fun stuff now and do a couple of tweaks on stuff, which gets us onto the points that we're now going to take a look at. And there's been a lot of changes made. So let's take a look at them now. First little changes that we've made is we've made a little meditative space here in the main central spire, which I think looks absolutely cool. I messed around with this quite a bit and was growing different trees in here. I ended up settling on just the large tree. I think it looks pretty cool. It's a bit ridiculous, but I think it actually works pretty well in here, and it doesn't sort of poke out too far from either of any of the sides. So I think it actually works pretty well, and as you can see above my head here, I can still actually winch up to the top. So that's pretty cool, and you don't actually hit the tree and it doesn't affect you at all. I just think it sort of adds something a little bit different in here, and you can have a little indoor garden, which is pretty cool. I've also added all these torches, as you can see on the wall here, and I've yet to plant these out because I only just sort of messed around with a couple of different things in terms of what I'm actually going to plant in here. I don't think I'll settle on these bushes. I don't really like them, I don't think, but we'll mess around with that a bit more. I think what I've actually done here that I'm actually settled on and really happy with is this massive tree in here, and that's it at this stage. And as I mentioned, a lot of tweaks and a lot of changes have gone on. I've actually added one more block layer to the outside of each of these 4 paths here that are in the central spire. So what I've ended up doing now is I've settled on making a room front and back which sit above the central space here, and what I decided to do with that is making the front room here a bedroom. And what I've had to do with that is actually change the front entry. Previously, as you'll see on screen here, we actually had this sort of 3 separate patterns, but what I've done now is I've added and changed that to one massive entry here, which I think looks pretty cool. Looks pretty cool from close up and pretty cool from a distance as well. And that's sort of staying in theme with the brass and the iron look that we have going throughout the rest of the build. And the reason I actually changed that was so that we had something that firstly let in a lot of light, but also gave me access to the top here, in that I can chop that pattern down and have some space still up the top. So what we've got now is a bedroom here, and what I've done is I've made similarly themed sort of windows for that, left and right here, and I think it looks pretty cool so far. I've only sort of just started on it. I haven't really placed anything on any of the shelves or anything like that, and I've still got a lot of work to do in here, but it's just something that I sort of put together really quickly. What I've also done as well is put a floor in here and a link in between these existing side rooms that were already here. And the other cool thing that I did, which makes it a little bit interesting as well, is put on both sides 2 trapdoors. This side here I think will be sort of a bathroom slash changing room, something like that, not really sure. And the rear room that I made here, I'm intending on making that sort of a library. Now the other little tweak and change that I've done in terms of add-ons for this as well is I've actually put in some stairs which go down to this back level. You may recall previously we had access down from the main space down here coming up these stairs, and it sort of went a little bit nowhere really. All you had was access to these little lookouts here, but now we've got access to the stairs to get upstairs, and that leads us into the main space here. You can then go up to the garden space up here, or you can then head on out to the bedroom at the front. And I think it's all coming out looking pretty cool so far. As I said, I've still got a lot to do, but I think it's looking quite cool. It is a little bit weird having the trees popping out of that central space. So I may sort of look at that over time and decide whether it's annoying or whether it's just a little quirk that I'm happy with having. But I think overall it's not looking too bad. We've made a couple of other little tweaks and changes as well. I've finally started planting out some of these gardens here just for purposes of having some seedlings and everything ready for the garden space upstairs. So that's a project that's still in the works as well. Now this bottom space down here, I've sort of started by knocking a couple of these walls out here on either side, and knocking the wall out just above my head there, which sort of entered me into the central square space here. I haven't really done too much more than that because I haven't decided on what I'm actually going to do for this space yet, whether I'm going to split my workers in between you know, possibly here, all across the back, and then through into another space here, whether I make it all open or whether I make it separate little spaces for each of them. I think overall in the end I'm intending on making little built-in spaces for all of them, and you know, not having just their equipment. I'm going to have quite a lot of different things in there and different storages for each of them, but in general I'll have to fix things up quite severely and quite heavily for all of them. One thing I will have though is all of these storage chests and everything possibly in a central area here. Even though they are all shared, it's nice when you come back from a mission and arrive at the flame here, you can sort of go straight to the chests and you've got them all close by. The way I initially had them set up, as you can see over here, some of the chests are over to the right for the farmer and all the rest of it, and I had each of their chests sort of close to them. I think what I might do now is sort of put you know, the chests that are related to the alchemist will go sort of on the, you know, the left hand side. The ones that are related here to the carpenter will be next to it, and I'll put them in sort of banks of 2 like this. Possibly. Yet to decide, but that's probably the way I'll do it. Alright, well I think that's pretty much it for us in terms of the other tweaks and changes that I've made to the build thus far. Next time we're going to get into, as I said, doing a little bit more fun stuff and a little bit more making things look nicer, a little bit more in terms of tweaks, and a little bit more in terms of making things look cool. We'll see you then.